5 teams enter, but only 2 of them can move on, along with these 10 teams, into the final of the custom tournament. Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Yonda. Welcome to Junkyard Joust. It's qualifier number 6. Competing today are the Mad Maniacs, Lily's Boneyard, Jack, John, and Katie Racing, Good Intention, and the A-Team. Let's head into the garage for a closer look. Beware the dog, it's Lily's Boneyard with Lily the dog in all the vehicles. I don't exactly know how that's possible, but I find it's better not to ask questions. This is about as Canadian as they come. It's the A-Team. They've got 2 undercutters, 2 ramps, and a bruiser. Stretching the limits of what counts as a custom car, it's Good Intention, sponsored by TJG. These vehicles are definitely prepared for impact. Here's the brightly colored Mad Maniacs. They've got a couple ramps and some good variety in vehicles. And this is Jack, John, and Katie Racing. If I've learned anything from Key West performance last episode, a little low-budget moxie can go a long way. Let's custom joust. Starting us off for the Mad Maniacs, Outlaw Maniac, sponsored by Judy Collins and driven by Miss Maniac. The randomized running order is up. In custom tournament, teams do not get to choose which car comes down when. It's random as well. Up first for Lily's Boneyard, Reaper Madness, sponsored by Jedi and driven, of course, by Lily the dog. A strong hit by Reaper Madness, and we've already got our first elimination in this round. Outlaw Maniac cannot make a recovery off Evil Weevil, the track buffer, and Lily the dog takes first blood. First up for Jack, John, and Katie Racing, the Chevy Silverado, sponsored by DY Production Labs and driven by Tim. The Silverado savages Reaper Madness, knocking it sideways off the track, and now it's got that lo-fi ramp all ready to rock. Let's see how that ramp fares against Pogo 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 for Good Intention, sponsored by Sloth Automotive Sachet and Buffet. Sometimes I barely know what I'm saying. Pogo 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 goes off the ramp, flips right over upside down. Rubber bands didn't even get a chance to do anything, and that ramp is still in position. Good effort by Pogo, I guess? Shadow, sponsored by Emo Dingo. Shadow hits the ramp, cannot get under it, goes up in the crates, bounces off, and goes flat on its face. No recovery there. And another elimination. Right now we just have 1 vehicle that is alive on the field. 180 grams, the Mad Maniac Express, sponsored by Dr. Gonzo and driven by Mad Maddie. And will you look at that, the Mad Maniac Express goes right off that ramp, pushes it, kind of rides it all the way up to the front, and then gets off the ride. Some of these heavier vehicles have struggled to survive after their hits. That's one way to do it. Nissan Bichon, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings, driven by Lily the dog. The Bichon catches the back of the jump on the Silverado, pushes it up to the front, and then still goes off the ramp, ironically, flips over and out. Silverado is surviving for the moment, but that jump is out of commission. Lily the dog sacrificing herself to get that jump out of commission, but there's still plenty of Lily the dogs left. Bentley Continental GT3, sponsored by Beaks Busted Barn Finds, driven by John. The Bentley makes a gentle but deadly hit, pushes 2 vehicles over sideways with just that tiniest of chain reactions. The Mad Maniac Express and the Silverado both getting eliminated on that hit. Next up for Good Intention, Overkill, sponsored by the Miskatonic Automotive Club. Overkill bounces off the Bentley, gets off the track. Right now looks like it's probably right side up. But both the Bentley and Overkill are in a rough position right now. They're going to be taking a hit from Solaire, sponsored by Farty Marty for the A-Team. Solaire slices and dices, knocks both cars off the track and takes them both down. Solaire known for these kind of deadly hits and does not fail to deliver. And again, we are down to just 1 surviving car on the track right now. This round has been a massacre. Speaking of massacre, it's the Maniac Hauler driven by Max the Maniac. If this thing gets set up and in position, and it does. Wow, it slows right down so wide that it actually has too much friction to get all the way to the end of the track, and now that ramp is in position. That looks like a tough ramp to get off the track. Obedience School going to take a crack at it, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm, driven by Lily the dog. 108 grams of dogs go flying off the back of that ramp, and Obedience Skull flips over, pushes the truck all the way up, but can't dislodge it, goes sideways, and is done. It looks like all the dogs are fine, though. I'm assuming that they've done stuff like this before, and it's part of their Obedience Skull training. Ford GT40 Mark IV is going to take that ramp, sponsored by Brendan Walsh and driven by Dr. John. The GT40 spirals off the ramp, but there's nowhere to land except the corpses of the fallen, and the GT40 goes upside down and joins them. The Maniac Hauler's ramp taking another victim. Let's see if bounciness can help in this situation. Boyoyoing, sponsored by Sicken. Well, I wouldn't call that a bounce, but boyoyoing, a successful dismount off that ramp, goes just barely over the top of it, flips right over, and pretty good recovery. Keeping good intention in this match. Haulin' Gas, sponsored by Ellis Wurtenberger. 164 grams, careens off the ramp, hits the crates and bobbles all over the place, goes straight upside down. Not a chance of recovery there, but an impressive hit. Nobody recovers as a result of that crash either. Wow. Now Maniac Creature has to survive his own teammate, sponsored by Jason's Bits Boys and driven by Mad Mike. Maniac Creature goes up the ramp and just lands straight on the top of the hauler, just kind of plops there and sits. Not a particularly great position to be in, but it's surviving for now. Here comes the Roadkill Express, sponsored by Tim the Bear Neal and driven by you-know-who. The Roadkill Express hits the bottom of that ramp, surprisingly does not go up the ramp and flips over and is right side up for now on the side of the track. Maniac Creature hangs on for dear life. Pro Stock Camaro's got a chance to do some damage here, driven by Captain John. Thank you, Camaro. The Camaro sideswipes Roadkill Express and then starts to take the ramp but can't get past Creature. Backs right down. Curbside. Bungee Dumper, sponsored by Sid from Cybertron. Bungee Dumper pushes into the Camaro, gets it off the track, and just sort of hangs out behind that jump, paving the way for Ooze Coop to potentially set up the ramp, sponsored by Bentley's Brakes and Bumpers. Ooze Coop sort of sets up the ramp, takes out both vehicles, the Camaro and Bungee Dumper, and now we got a double ramp going on. Let's see if Ooze Coop can hold on to this position. Gonna take a hit from the Maniac S7, driven by Maniac Man Mitchell. Maniac Man Mitchell takes the Ooze Coop jump, goes over Creature, bounces off, and then cannot make a recovery. Again, too much stuff going on down there. Nowhere to land, and it is sideways. The Ooze Coop claiming an elimination. Arrested Development, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings, driven by Lily the Dog. Wow, a massive upset here as Arrested Development knocks the Ooze Coop upside down off the back of the other ramp and then somehow finds a landing place and survives for the moment. Unbelievable. Ooze Coop wiped out, and that is a big deal. As we've seen in previous matches, Ooze Coop can do a lot of damage. A slightly less oozy Coop, it's the Ford Mustang driven by Sammy Boy. The Ford Mustang goes right off the back of the ramp, flips over, barely even takes the ramp, just kind of bounces off of it, goes upside down, and does the classic Mustang move of driving right off the track. Never even a chance to use that ramp. The Fail Digger, sponsored by Chome. The Fail Digger hits the ramp, but doesn't have enough power to actually go up the ramp. Could be a good thing for the Fail Digger, and at the moment it's a successful digger. Too Cool, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling for the A-Team. Too Cool pops Fail Digger up in the air. Fail Digger goes upside down, bounces itself out of this competition, and Too Cool takes a stab at Creature, pushing it over sideways, and that is probably going to be an elimination for that vehicle. That double takedown by Too Cool is going to end this round, and let me tell you folks, it is a record breaker. 20 eliminations in that round. We've never seen carnage like this at Junkyard Joust before. Jack, John, and Katie Racing out of the match already. The Silverado doing a lot of damage, but they just couldn't stick around. 5 cars remain, 1 for the Mad Maniacs, Lily's Boneyard, and Good Intention. A-Team, only team coming out with more than 1 vehicle left. That was a brutal round 1. We're heading into round 2. Will there be more than 2 rounds? I guess we'll find out as Too Cool takes to the track. A little bit of a ramp on that vehicle could come into play here. Arrested Development up next for the Boneyard. Arrested Development takes the ramp, pieces breaking off all over the place, and it makes an unbelievable recovery. Look at this twist, and then it just bounces right back up again. What a great recovery by a vehicle that you did not expect it from. And now the vehicle that was responsible for a big chunk of the eliminations last round, the Maniac Hauler. Maniac Hauler pops into position, does not take the ramp on Too Cool, and that's going to prove important towards keeping the Mad Maniacs in this match. Final surviving car for Good Intention, boyoyoing. Boyoyoing bounces again to a successful recovery, and wow, another amazing leap and a great landing. No eliminations on this round yet. Pretty impressive. Already the final car of the round, Solaire. Solaire hits the ramp, not great at surviving these kind of situations, and Solaire flips and flops and cannot make a recovery. And that is going to equalize things. Every team remaining has one car left. Let's look at the aftermath. And with the elimination of Solaire, the A team is down to 1, and it looks like we'll have our round 3. But before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor.
That's juicy! Jousting builds up a mean thirst. That's why real jousters like Winnebago drink Junkyard Joust. Quench your thirst the Winnebago way. What happens when you combine delicious fruit flavoring with leftover automotive parts and fluid left in the junkyard? I'll tell you, it's Junkyard Joust! Not satisfied with one tiny box of Junkyard Joust? Well, then it's lucky for you it comes in a 1-gallon size. Wish there were hundreds of other uses for Junkyard Joust? Well, today's your day, friend. Just look at all the things you can do with it. Joust your thirst today. Now in sour blue rustberry.
Does not contain actual juice. Ask doctor before using. They gave me a bunch of free Junkyard Juice before we started the joust. I'm kind of afraid to go near it. Maniac Hauler is up first in round 3, setting up that ramp already. And now the 3 remaining cars gotta take the plunge. Let's see if Boyoyoing can work that bouncy magic. Oh, no such luck as it takes a rough bounce on the top of the Maniac Hauler and then flips upside down. Does not manage to use its rubber bandedness to its advantage. And it looks like Good Intention might be out of this match. Let's see if Arrested Development can take that jump again. Lily the dog drives all the way off that ramp, flips, gets a little boost at the end of it, looks like it's gonna survive, and then just kinda hits the track at a bad angle. Can't quite pull it off. Oh, agonizingly close to a recovery there. Maybe the crate's even the reason that vehicle could not completely flip over. Tough break for Lily the dog in the Boneyard. Now if Too Cool cannot survive this ramp, we're gonna have to go to the points to see who's moving on. But it is moot. Too Cool hits the crates, makes a good bounce and a recovery, and keeps the A team in this match and sends them to the final, along with the Mad Maniacs. What a massacre this match was. Didn't even think there was going to be more than 2 rounds. And after the dust settles, the Mad Maniacs and the A team are going to the championship match. They're going to join this illustrious group of teams right here. What a match this is going to be. A battle royale between 12 teams. We've never done anything like this on Junkyard Joust before. It should be amazing and epic. Thank you to absolutely everyone who sent in teams and cars for this custom tournament. And get ready for the big one in 2 weeks from now. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Junkyard Joust.